Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about 5 boundaries I'm glad I kept during dating. I thought this would be really cool to share with you guys, especially as I've talked about boundaries before. That was back when I was dating, and now I get to talk about those same boundaries but from the perspective of being married for about 5 months now. The first boundary I'm really glad we kept to was no passionate kissing. That was a complete no-go for us. Even though we weren't perfect, there were times that we have failed, and thank goodness for confession and God's grace. So I just want you to know that I'm no perfect person when it comes to chastity or boundaries or anything, but these are ones that we really tried our best to stick to, and I just really encourage you to do the same. So no passionate kissing for sure. I've talked about this in other videos, so if you want to learn more about why I say no to passionate kissing during dating, definitely have a look at those videos, and yeah, I think you'll learn a lot. The other thing was, during the engagement season, it was particularly hard. As you can imagine, getting closer to the wedding day, it's very exciting, and so we actually decided to put in another rule, which isn't necessary. No one told us to do this, no one told us not to do this. It was just something that between Craig and I we thought would be really important for us to just really try our best to eliminate all opportunities or near instances of temptation for us, and that was that we did not kiss for a few months leading up to the wedding day. And I'm really grateful for that, because I actually still remember that first kiss at the altar that we had, and we hadn't kissed for like months before then, so it was really special for us, and kissing throughout that day just felt extra special, and so I'm really glad we kept to that. Definitely not something you have to do, but for us it was just something we decided to do. Something looking back taught us how to come up with other ways to show each other how much we loved each other and how much we cared for each other. So for example, I wrote him 100 letters leading up to the wedding day during our engagement season, during that time that I found it really hard to show him how much I really loved him. And he did a bit of a scrapbook, and we gave each other these gifts on the wedding day, and they were a bit of a surprise for each other, and that was really cool. So things like that, which we've kind of continued to do, like sometimes I write him a note or things like that, so words of affirmation, and he is really nice about giving me flowers and nice sweet gifts, things like that. And I think that has just taught us so much and has really been very valuable for marriage as well. The other thing about not passionate kissing is, if you're not alone together, then you clearly won't want to be passionate kissing if there's people around. So if you find ways that during dating you avoid being alone together, then that's great, and that's something we really tried to stick to. The second boundary is about not being alone together, and it relates really well to that not passionate kissing thing, because if you're in a space with other people, or you know that other people can see you, then you're clearly not going to want a passionate kiss, right? The other, like a note to go alongside that, is about talking about these chastity and these boundaries often with the person you're dating, and that's something that Craig and I did, and I think it just helped us along the way, because things would change often. Sometimes something is a temptation and sometimes it's not, so it's important to just keep communicating and talk about it often. So we talked about it like minimum once a week, just continually changing different small boundaries, small things to just make sure that we were being the best we could be. The third one is not staying the night. It's a pretty obvious one, but maybe for some people it's not. So we said completely we would not stay the night at each other's places. Definitely if there was a scenario where we really had to, so there was like one night we wanted to have drinks with our friends, so we made sure that the girls were all sleeping in a separate room and the guys in another room, and that meant that we could all like keep each other accountable, and we talked about it, so we all had this clear idea that even though we were staying the night, it wasn't to do anything. But regardless of that one instance, I think we pretty much stuck to it, unless it was like at a camp or something and the same rule applied. The boys were in a different area to the girls. We also had the boundary of not staying super late with one another, so I'm pretty sure we never like hung out later than midnight, I think. and that was just to make sure that we didn't lead anything, we didn't lead each other into temptation, because as you know, the later it gets at night, the more tired you become and the less control you have over decisions you make, for example. So it was really important for us that we didn't stay super late talking to each other or hanging out. The other boundary, the final one, is no touching in specific areas, which again I think is pretty obvious, but we did discuss this like on date 2. Like I was very like, no sex before marriage, no touching, and lots of stuff like that. It was very open and honest because I really wanted to take this relationship seriously, and I wanted him to know up front where I stood, and it was really cool because he felt the same way. So right from the get-go we were able to keep those boundaries and really stick to them. Yeah, so those are the 5 key boundaries that I'm really glad that we stuck to during dating, and looking back now as a married person, it's actually helped us a lot, and we've continued to practice chastity. It looks very different, and maybe one day I'll do a video about that, but chastity is still for every vocation, it just looks very different, and for me in dating, those were the boundaries that were necessary for us, and I just thought I'd share them with you guys to let you know that it is not impossible. It is definitely hard, but it was totally worth it, and looking back I'm so glad that we stuck to those. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something as well. See you.